What the tide keeps. The sea doesn't give back what it takes, but sometimes deep in the dark water, something still waits to be found. A story of grief, retrieval, and what it costs to go back down. In a kingdom built beside the sea, where the cliffs ran dark and salt slick to the water's edge, and where the dead were not buried in the ground but given back to the waves, there lived a girl who had not dived in 3 years. Her name was Rin. She was 22 years old, and she smelled of brine whether she bathed or not, which she took as either a blessing or a curse, depending on the hour. She had her mother's hands, wide-palmed, strong-knuckled, the kind built for gripping rope, and her brother's habit of tilting her head when she was thinking, like a bird listening for something underground. Her brother, there it was, the thing that lived behind her sternum, pressing outward whenever she forgot to keep her shoulders braced. She pressed it back now, out of practice. She was standing at the door of the harbor office, which she was not supposed to be inside at this hour, holding a lantern in one hand and the lock she had just picked in the other, and telling herself she was here because she had a right to be, because something had never sat right about the record that said accidental drowning in her brother Cass's file, a file she had read 4 times and never quite believed. Because Daya had finally said the words aloud last week, the ones Rin had been swallowing for 3 years. The council knew something, Rin. I think they've always known. Because of that. Not because of anything else. She stepped inside. The harbor office at night was a different creature than it was by day. Still and watchful, smelling of ink and damp wood and old record keeping, the kind of place that absorbs secrets without meaning to. Rin held her lantern up. Shelves, ledgers, a long oak desk with a council seal pressed into its surface like a brand. She crossed to the shelves. Cass had been a tide caller, the best one the village of Veth had seen in a generation, her mother used to say, and her mother was not given to flattery. Tide callers dove. They went down into the sea, and they stayed as long as their lungs would allow, sometimes longer. And what the water gave them in return was vision, fragments of the drowned, echoes of the deep, the old history the sea had swallowed whole. It was a gift and a cost. Every minute below the surface took something, heartbeats, days. In small amounts, it hardly mattered. In large amounts, over years, it aged you. Rin had been training to dive since she was 7. Cass had taught her everything she knew. She found the records from 3 years ago. She ran her finger down the page, the familiar handwriting, the familiar dates, the familiar story she had memorized like a wound she kept pressing. 12 tide callers dispatched for the deep survey of Veth's southern trench. 11 returned, 1 lost to currents, classified as accidental. She had read that before. She had memorized that. What she had never seen before was what came after it. A second entry. Same date, different ink, a different hand entirely, neater, deliberate. The handwriting of someone copying something down carefully, the way you copy something when you want a record that only certain people will find. Council sanctioned. See Appendix 7. Her hand went still on the page. Council sanctioned. Her chest did not tighten the way she expected. It went cold instead. Cold and very quiet, like the moment before a wave, like the sea pulling back before it comes in. She was looking for Appendix 7 when the door opened behind her. She spun. The lantern swung. A man stood in the doorframe, not large, not particularly imposing, with dark travel-worn clothes and a satchel over one shoulder, and the expression of someone who had just found exactly what he was looking for while also wishing he hadn't. He looked at her. She looked at him. He looked at the broken lock in her hand. "Appendix 7 is on the left," he said. "Third shelf down." Rin did not move. Her pulse was doing something ungovernable. "Who are you?" "Someone who has been trying to access that shelf for 4 days without resorting to picking the lock." He paused. "I'm impressed, actually. That's a council bolt. They're not supposed to yield." "They yield," Rin said, "if you know what you're doing." Evidently. He set his satchel on the desk, did not reach for a weapon, did not shout, just stood there with a kind of careful stillness, like a man who had learned the hard way to be quiet in rooms that were listening. "You're here for the Tide Caller records." It was not a question. "I don't know what I'm here for," Rin said, which was a lie, and from the slight tilt of his mouth, she suspected he knew it. "Rinaveth," he said, "sister of Cass, Tide Caller, unlicensed, since 3 years past." He reached into his satchel and drew out a bundle of folded papers, worn at the creases the way things go when they've been read too many times. He set them on the desk between them. "I've been looking for you." She should have run. She did not run. "Why?" she said. "Because I think your brother found something he wasn't supposed to find." His voice was even, factual, the kind of voice that had decided not to feel things in order to say them clearly. "And I think the council had him killed for it. And I think..." He stopped. "I think I have the proof, but I can't use it alone." The lantern flickered. Outside, the sea turned over in its sleep. Rin looked at the papers on the desk. Then she looked at the man, his face, which was angular and tired and gave nothing away except in the eyes, which gave away slightly too much. "You haven't told me your name," she said. "Solon." "Solon," she repeated. "Why would I trust anything you say?" He considered this with the seriousness it deserved. "You probably shouldn't," he said. "Not yet." Then so quietly it was almost to himself, "But you came here tonight for the same reason I did, and I think we both know what Appendix 7 is going to say." She crossed to the third shelf. She found it. She read it. The world did not fall apart, not loudly, not the way she had always imagined grief would arrive if it ever got worse than it already was. It arrived quietly, the way the tide comes in at night when no one is watching. Slow, inevitable, already here before you notice it. Tide Caller Cass of Veth, dispatched under Council Order 4. The deep survey was cover. The true purpose, sacrifice to the entity of the Southern Trench in exchange for continued calm waters. Successful harvest. Political stability for the Council's 5th term. Her brother was not lost to a current. Her brother was sent down. and told not to come back up. She stood very still. Her hand was flat against the shelf. She could feel the grain of the wood against her palm, rough, real, present, and she pressed into it because she needed something to press against. She thought briefly, and with the particular helplessness of it, of her mother, still in the house on the upper path, still setting 2 cups out of habit some mornings before she caught herself, still carrying the grief of Cass, the way only a mother carries a thing, which is everywhere, all the time, without rest. Her mother had never believed the council's story either. She had simply not known what else to do with the not believing. Neither had Rin until now. He found out, she thought. He found out, and they knew he found out, and so they... Rin. She turned. Solon was watching her, not with pity, which she would not have been able to bear, but with something careful and honest, like a person holding a door open and not pushing her through it. He knew? She asked. Her voice was steadier than she felt. She hated that about herself sometimes, how steady she sounded when she was fracturing. I believe so. His journal. Solon reached into his satchel again, drew out something small. Worn brown leather, the strap repaired with a different thread, the cover softened from years of being carried in the same pocket. It was found in his boat, the boat that came back without him. Rin knew that boat. She had stood beside it on the dock for 2 hours after they told her, just stood there, hands at her sides, not understanding yet how empty an empty boat could be. She took the journal. It was heavier than it had any right to be. She did not open it yet, could not open it yet, not here, not in front of someone she had met 4 minutes ago, but she held it with both hands, the leather warm from his satchel, and for a moment, she forgot to breathe. Cass. The name hit her in the throat the way it always did when she let herself think it. 3 letters, nothing else. He tried to bring the proof back himself, Solon said. I think he almost made it. A pause. I'm sorry that he didn't. Don't. Her voice came out sharper than she intended. She softened it slightly. Don't apologize. Just... She exhaled. Just tell me what you need. I need a tide collar. She looked at him. The proof in that journal, he continued, the full proof, the record of what happened, the names of every council member who signed the directive, is in the trench. Cass put it there. I don't know if he planned to die and he was protecting it, or if he thought he'd come back for it. Something moved across his face, brief and controlled. But it's there, and the only way to get it is down. The sea was loud through the walls. Rin had not dived in 3 years. Her chest was the cold, particular kind of cold that had nothing to do with temperature. She could feel the old fear, not fear exactly, not anymore, something that had outgrown the word, pressing against the inside of her ribs, the way it had every time she'd stood at the cove's edge and found she could not make herself go in. She looked at the journal in her hands. She thought of Cass teaching her to dive. The way he'd gripped her wrist and said, "Don't fight the current, Rin. Move with it and it'll carry you." The way he'd laughed at her when she surfaced, spluttering, not unkindly. The way he laughed at everything, easily, like laughter was something that lived just beneath the surface of him, always ready. Some people stay, she thought, and the thought was not about Cass, not entirely. It was about herself. 3 years, and she was still standing on the shore. She looked up at Solon. He was watching her with those eyes that gave away slightly too much, and she had the strange, sudden impression that he was someone who laughed only when he forgot to stop himself, which sounded, she thought, like something worth finding out. Not yet, but possibly. "Daya," Rin said, "I'm sorry. I have a friend. She's a tide caller, still active." Rin tucked the journal carefully inside her coat, against her ribs, against the press of cold. "We'll need her, and whoever else you trust, you'd better start trusting me instead, because whoever helped you compile this..." She gestured at his satchel, at the papers, at everything she now knew that she could not unknow. "Won't be enough, not for the trench. I work alone," Solon said. "Not anymore." He looked at her. She looked at him. Outside, the sea turned over again, patient and dark and very old, holding everything it had ever been given. "The trench is deeper than anyone's gone before," he said. "The cost alone..." "I know the cost. Do you?" "I know it better than you do." Her voice was quiet, even, the voice she used when she meant every word and did not need volume to say so. "It's my family that paid it." Silence. Then from Solon, something so quiet she almost missed it. Not pity, not admiration, just the simple, honest weight of a person recalibrating. "All right," he said. "All right," Rin echoed. She crossed to the door. "The lock," he said behind her. She glanced back. He was holding it out to her, and the corner of his mouth had done the thing again, the slight tilt, the almost something. "Keep it," she said. "Proof you were here." That's not reassuring. It wasn't meant to be. She stepped out into the dark. The sea was everywhere. Smell of it, sound of it, the low, constant voice of it against the rocks below. And Rin stood on the harbor path with her brother's journal held against her heart and her hands not quite steady, and the night very wide around her. She did not go to the cove. Not yet. But she thought about it. She thought about the cold press of the water, the way sound changed when you went under, the way light looked, seen from below, the whole world made of shifting silver, beautiful and strange and full of things that did not exist anywhere else. She thought about what Cass had left down there. "I'll come back for it." She pressed the journal harder against her ribs. "One more breath," she said aloud, to no one. Then she walked home through the dark, the sea at her back, and somewhere behind her the tide came in. Daya said yes before Rin had finished asking. That was how she had always been. Decision first, questions somewhere behind it, running to catch up. She showed up at Rin's door before sunrise, with her diving belt already buckled, her dark hair pulled back in a knot that meant business, and a look on her face like she had been waiting 3 years for someone to finally say the words aloud. "The council," Daya said. "The council," Rin confirmed. Daya nodded once. Then she looked past Rin's shoulder at Solon, who was sitting at the small table with his hands around a cup of tea he hadn't touched, watching them the way careful people watched rooms they were new to. "You trust him?" Daya asked. No, Rin said. Good, said Daya. Neither do I yet. Come on then. Solon stood. He looked at his untouched tea, then at the door, then, very briefly, at Rin. I brought the maps, he said. Bring them, Rin said, and turned away before she could notice the look on his face. They left Feth before the village woke. The southern cliffs were an hour's walk from the harbor, a path Rin had known since childhood, worn into the rock by the feet of every tide caller who had come before her. Seagrass bent flat in the wind, salt on her lips before she'd gone 10 steps. The sound of the water rising as they descended, getting louder, fuller, until it was less a sound and more a presence. The sea announcing itself the way it always did, like a creature that needed no introduction and gave none anyway. Daya walked ahead, easy in her body the way people are when they've never stopped doing the thing they were built for. Rin walked in the middle. Solon walked behind her. She was aware of him the way she was aware of weather, not always looking, but knowing it was there. They reached the dive point as the first gray light came over the water. Rin stood at the edge. The cove spread below, a crescent of dark sea, calm this morning, the surface moving in slow, deep swells that told you there was a lot of water beneath, a lot of depth, a great deal going on under the stillness. The tide pools at the base of the cliff caught the light and held it in small bright cups. A gannet circled once and fell into the water like a thrown stone. She had stood here 100 times. She had stood here the morning they told her about Cass. She had stood here every week for the first 6 months after, trying to make herself go in, standing until her legs ached, and then going home again without having done it, until she stopped coming, until the path grew back a little in the places she used to walk it. Her chest did the thing it did, the going cold, the pulling inward, the body's memory of grief wearing the shape of fear, move with the current. Cass had told her, don't fight it. She looked at the water. The water looked back the way it always did, ancient and patient and completely indifferent to her feelings. You don't have to go first, Daya said from beside her. I know. I can lead the first descent, scout the middle depths. You can follow when. I'll go first. Rin's voice came out steadier than she expected. She was getting tired of being surprised by that. I need to go first. Daya looked at her, the long look she gave when she was deciding how many things to say. Then she nodded and said none of them. Behind them, Solon had spread the maps on a flat rock, weighing the corners with stones. He was cross-referencing something, 2 sheets held at angles to each other, and there was a small line of concentration between his brows that Rin had already begun to recognize. The trench access, he said without looking up. Cass's notes put it at 200 feet, approximately. Below the thermocline, the water will change. Colder, darker. The visions tend to be. He stopped. He described them as loud, like the sea trying to say everything at once. They are, Rin said. The visions. When you first go deep. She was pulling on her diving belt, checking the weights, doing the familiar ritual by Phil. Her hands knew this. Her hands had never forgotten. You learn to sort through them. Find the signal in the noise. How? You look for what doesn't belong to the sea. She buckled the last clasp. The drowned things carry their own light. It's dim, but it's different, warmer. Solon was quiet for a moment. She glanced over. He was looking at her with the expression that gave away slightly too much. "What?" she said. "Nothing." He looked back at the maps. "I just wondered how you know that, if you haven't dived in 3 years." The question sat in the air between them like a splinter. "You don't forget," she said finally. "You just stop." He nodded once and said nothing else, and Rin found, irritatingly, that the not saying anything was harder to dismiss than a response would have been. She turned back to the water. Daya was already at the ledge, feet at the edge, toes curling over the rock with the easy confidence of someone who had never had a reason to stop. "Ready?" Daya said. Rin rolled her shoulders back. Her pulse was doing something ungovernable in her throat. The cold and pulling sensation in her chest had moved upward, tightening. She breathed through it. In for 4, out for 4, the way Cass had taught her before the first deep dive, when she was 12 years old and the depth had seemed like the edge of everything. Move with it. She stepped forward and went in. The sea took her like it always had, like a hand, like a door opening, like the world rearranging itself around a different logic, not less real, but real in a different way, the way a held breath is real, the way the space between heartbeats is real. The cold hit first, then the weight of the water, then the silence, which was not silence, not exactly, but the removal of everything above the surface, replaced by the deep particular sound of the sea's own breathing, its own slow, enormous life. Rin went down. Her body remembered. Of course her body remembered. The legs kicking, the arms moving, the tilt of the head, the way you kept your eyes open even when the dark pressed close, because the dark was full of things worth seeing. Daya moved beside her. She could feel her presence more than see her, a warm shape in the cold blue, like a hand that wasn't touching. The light changed. 10 feet, 20, 30. At 40 feet, the thermocline hit. The cold layer where warm water ended and the deep began, a wall you passed through like walking into a different room. The temperature dropped sharply. Her lungs registered it, began their gentle countdown. She kept going. 50 feet, 60. The visions started the way they always did, like water filling a shape she hadn't known was hollow. Fragments first, not images exactly, more like impressions. The weight of grief, the smell of rain on stone. A sound like someone calling a name from very far away. The drowned things carry their own light. She found it. Dim, warm, different from the cold blue of the sea around it. It was not a person, not a shape she could point at and name. More like a residue, the way sorrow leaves a mark on a place, the way you can walk into a room where something hard happened and feel it in the quality of the air. Something had been in this water, something that had mattered. She did not reach for it. Not yet. She was 100 feet down and her lungs were filing their complaints, and this first dive was not about finding anything. It was about remembering she could go down at all. She started back up. The surface broke over her head like a reprieve. She gasped, once sharp, involuntary, and then she was floating on her back, looking up at the sky, which was pale and wide and doing nothing in particular, and she was breathing, and she was here. I went down. The thought arrived quietly, settled. I went down and I came back up. Daya surfaced beside her, shaking water from her face. Good? Good, Rin said. They floated for a moment, the sea holding them without comment. Then from above, from Solan, who was lying on his stomach at the cliff edge with his head over the side, like the least dignified lookout in living memory, came a voice. You're both alive. Deeply observant, Daya said. Do they train you for that, or does it come naturally? I had considered the possibility that one of you might not surface. A pause. The particular pause of a man who was choosing his words like he was stepping across ice. I'm finding I'm quite pleased to be wrong about that. Rin looked up at him. The morning light was behind him. She couldn't see his face clearly, just the outline of him, the tilt of his head, the complete absence of anything dramatic in his delivery. She laughed. It caught her off guard, the way laughing always did lately. A small real thing that arrived without permission. She covered it quickly, turning her face into the water. But Daya had heard it. She saw Daya note it with the particular expression of a person filing something away for later. Rin ignored this and swam for the ladder. They made camp in the sea cave that night. Daya had found it on an earlier survey, a natural hollow in the southern cliffs, wide enough for 3 people and a fire, with a crack in the ceiling that drew the smoke out and a floor of smooth stone that held warmth. The entrance faced away from the village. The council's patrols kept to the northern paths. For now, it was theirs. Daya made something hot over the fire, a fisherman's broth, mostly salt and stubborn vegetables and whatever she'd had in her pack, the kind of food that tasted like very little but felt like everything after cold water and a long walk. She handed Rin a tin cup without asking, handed Solon one too, after a moment's deliberation that she did not attempt to hide. Solon accepted it, looked into it. What is this? Food, said Daya. He appeared to search for the word with the careful concentration of a man who took accuracy seriously, even in unimportant matters. Enthusiastically textured. It's hot, Daya said, which is more than you'd have found on your own. He drank it, said nothing else, but Rin caught the slight movement of his mouth, the barely there thing, suppressed almost immediately, and felt the laugh trying to come back. She opened Cass's journal instead. The fire shifted. The cave held its breath. She had been putting this off since the harbor office, had held the journal against her chest for an entire night without opening it, which was, she knew, a kind of cowardice dressed as reverence. But she was here now, at the bottom of a long day, in a cave that smelled of salt and old stone, and she was out of excuses. She opened it. Cass's handwriting, tilted slightly to the right, the letters quick and confident and occasionally illegible, in the way of someone who thinks faster than they write. Day 4 of the deep survey. The trench is... I don't have the words for it yet. I keep trying, and it keeps being insufficient. It's like trying to describe the color of grief. You know what it is when you're inside it. When you come up, you can only say, dark, cold, full of things. She pressed her thumb to the page. Day 7. I've been going deeper than the survey requires. I know that. I can't stop. Something down there is. I think it's keeping records. I think the sea, or whatever lives in it, has been keeping records of everything the council ever put in. And I think if someone dived deep enough, they'd find them. Her chest was not cold now. It was too full for cold. Day 9. I found the directive, not the paper, the sea's version, the impression of it. You'll know it when you find it, Rin. It's warm where everything else is cold. It's loud where everything else is quiet. I left you a way to find it. I left you. The entry stopped. Incomplete. The pen had trailed off into nothing, like a thought interrupted, like a person interrupted. Rin closed her eyes. She sat very still for a moment, hand flat on the open page, feeling the grain of it. Old paper, handled, real. She heard the fire, the sea outside, low and constant, the sound of Daya breathing, the particular rhythm of someone who was awake and had decided not to say anything, the sound of Solon setting his cup down carefully on stone. He knew, she said, to no one, to all of them, to herself. He knew he might not make it back, and he went down anyway. Silence. Then Solon quietly. The last entry. Does it say anything about where he left it? No. She opened her eyes, looked at the unfinished line. I left you. He ran out of time. Or he didn't need to write it because he knew you'd know. She looked at him across the fire. The light was doing something with the planes of his face, making him look older in some places and younger in others. His eyes were steady on hers, not demanding anything, just present, that careful stillness again. Why are you doing this? She said. Doing what? This. Any of it. She gestured at the cave, at the papers, at the whole improbable situation of a former council scribe in a sea cave with stolen maps. You could walk away, you have the records, you could take them to the Port Authority or the Council of the Eastern Reaches, or anyone. You don't need me for that. He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice had lost a little of its evenness. Just a fraction. Just enough. I wrote the directive down, he said. 3 years ago. I was a scribe. That was my job, to record what the council decided. I wrote it down, and I signed it, and I filed it, and then I went home, and I didn't sleep for a long time after that. But I didn't do anything. A pause. I've been trying to do something ever since. The fire popped. Daya was very still on her side of the cave. Rin looked at Solon for a long moment, at the thing he was carrying that he usually kept very well hidden. She understood it, the shape of it, the particular weight of I knew, and I said nothing. She had her own version. She had not come back to Cass's boat for 6 months after he died. Not because she couldn't, but because she'd seen him board it that morning and she'd been too tired to say goodbye properly, and that had its own quality of culpability that she had been living with ever since. All right, she said. He looked up. You're here now, she said. That's the part that counts. Something moved across his face. Brief, unguarded, gone before she could name it. He looked back at the fire. "You're unexpectedly difficult to argue with," he said. "I know," Rin said. "It's irritating. I've been told." Daya, from the other side of the cave, made a sound that was not quite a cough. The second dive was deeper, 200 feet, below where sunlight reached, below the layer where the sea was merely cold, and into the layer where it was something else. Something that had its own weight, its own intention. Rin went first again, Daya 3 lengths behind, her presence a steadiness in the dark water. They had agreed Solon would remain at the surface. He was not a diver, had made no claim to being one, and had shown what Rin considered admirable self-awareness about this. Though she had looked back from the ledge just before she went in and found him already on his stomach at the cliff edge, watching, she had looked away before she could decide what she thought about that. The descent was different this time. Not easier exactly, but less like fighting, more like a negotiation. Her lungs registering their objection, her mind noting it and continuing anyway. One breath held, one direction, down. The thermocline. Through it. The dark. And then the visions came. Not fragments this time, not impressions. The sea was louder here than she had ever heard it, just as Cass had written. Like the sea trying to say everything at once, she felt it press, years of things, decades, the long accumulation of what had been put in and what had sunk and what had been carried down by the current and left. She sorted through it the way he had taught her. Look for the warmth. There, below her. Not a light you could see with your eyes. Something older than eyes. A warmth you felt in your sternum, behind the place the grief lived, the way you sometimes feel a sound before you hear it. She dove toward it. Her lungs were counting. Not screaming yet, but counting. She reached the warmth and heard his voice. Not from outside, from the water itself, from whatever the sea had kept, whatever impression of him had settled in this trench and waited. A few words distorted by depth and years, but his rhythm, his cadence, his particular way of tilting certain syllables. "I left you the warmth, Rin. Follow it down. You'll know when you're there." She nearly opened her mouth. She didn't. She turned her face upward instead, her lungs filing their final complaint, and she started up. She broke the surface and breathed like breathing was the most extraordinary thing. For a moment, she simply floated, face skyward, the sea holding her, the cold still in her bones, and she let herself feel everything without trying to manage it. The ache in her chest, the echo of his voice in the water, the strange, specific grief of finding evidence that someone loved you enough to leave a trail. He knew I'd come back. He always knew. Daya surfaced beside her, read her face, reached out and touched her shoulder once, briefly, the way Daya always did when she was saying something she didn't have words for. They swam in. Solon was at the base of the cliff by the time they climbed up, pacing in a short, deliberate way that he stopped doing immediately when he saw them. He looked at Rin. She was dripping and her hands were shaking slightly, and she was probably several days older than she'd been that morning, which was the cost of depth. She did not mind. "It's there," she said. "I found the warmth. Whatever he left, it's there." Solon let out a long breath. He pressed 2 fingers to his mouth briefly, a gesture she hadn't seen from him before. "How deep? Deeper than we've been. 1 more dive, maybe 2. And the cost is mine to calculate." She said it without heat, factual, "Not yours." He looked at her. He seemed to weigh several responses and then discard all of them. "All right," he said. "All right," she said, and almost smiled. Almost. They were 2 days into it when Cale found them. Rin heard the footsteps on the cliff path above the cave just before Daya grabbed her arm. They both went still. Solon was already on his feet, papers gathered, hand not quite on the knife at his belt but close to it. The footsteps did not hurry. They came down the path with the particular weight of someone who had walked it before. Slowly, deliberately. The way you walk when you already know what you're going to find and you are giving yourself the last few moments before you find it. Elder Cale stood in the opening, gray-haired, sea-weathered, the kind of old that comes from spending a life outdoors. He had been the village elder for as long as Rin had been alive. He had stood beside her at Cass's memorial. He had held her mother's hands when she wept. He looked at the papers spread between them. He looked at Rin. His face did something complicated, not surprise. That was what cracked her first, not surprise. Only the expression of a man who had known this was coming, who had spent 3 years knowing it was coming and had not decided yet what to do when it arrived. "Rin," he said. "You knew," she said. The words came out flat and certain, not a question. He closed his eyes, opened them. The sea was loud behind him, indifferent to the weight of the moment. "I knew," he said. "How did you find us?" Daya said. Her voice was flat, controlled. Cale looked at her. "I've known about this cave since before either of you were born," he said. "The tide callers have used it for generations. And He stopped. "I saw you leave the harbor the morning after the office was broken into. I've been coming to the path's end every evening since, watching the smoke from the crack in the ceiling." A pause. "I almost came the first night. I couldn't make myself." He looked at Rin. "I'm sorry it took me this long." The cave was very quiet. Daya had gone completely still, the particular stillness of someone who had hoped very hard that it wasn't true and was now watching the hope drain out. Solon had not moved. He was watching Cale with the careful eyes of a man who had read the record and already knew this part of the story, who was waiting to see what came next. Rin stood. She was still in her wet diving clothes, still cold from the last descent. Her hands were steadier than they had any right to be, but she had come to understand that was not strength. It was simply how grief moved in her body. Not outward, inward, down. "Why?" she said. He told her. He told her about the storm, 22 years ago, the one that should have taken Veth entirely, that took 3 ships and 19 people before the sea quieted. He told her about the morning the tide brought something in, a voice in the water, an offer, a bargain struck in desperation on a beach in the dark. Calm seas, good harvests, stability. In exchange for what the trench required, not many, not often. Only those who dove too deep and found things that weren't meant to be found. He told her he had spent 22 years believing it was the only way. He was crying by the end. Not dramatically, just steadily, the way old grief cries, tired, familiar, making no demand that anyone witness it or respond. The worst part was that Rin understood. She understood exactly how a person arrived at the choice he had made. She understood the particular mathematics of impossible situations, how you look at a whole village against one person, and you make the calculation you can't unmake, and then you make it again and again until it is no longer a choice, but a system, until you have stopped counting. She understood it. She was not going to forgive it. "You sent my brother down," she said. "Yes. He found out. And so you..." "I didn't want to." His voice broke on it. I had known him since he was born, Rin. I had known your father. He stopped, pressed his mouth together. "I told myself it was for the village." "Was it?" Silence. "I don't know anymore," he said. "I haven't known for a long time." She looked at him for a long moment. The fire was low, the sea outside, the weight of everything. The cave held the silence for a long time after the words settled. Rin sat with it. She had become practiced at sitting with things. 3 years of practice, which was more than enough, which was still not enough. Then she heard it. Daya. Not crying. Daya did not cry the way most people did, openly, with sound. She cried the way she did everything, practically and without ceremony, just 2 lines of water down her face that she didn't bother wiping, because wiping them would mean acknowledging them, and she had apparently decided not to do that. Rin looked at her. Daya looked back, did not look away, did not explain. "You knew him better than you ever said," Rin said. Quietly. Not an accusation, just the shape of something she was only now fully seeing. "He was my dive partner for 2 years, Daya said. "Before the survey, before..." She stopped. Her jaw worked. "He used to bring bread from the bakehouse on mornings we had early dives. He never told anyone he did that. It would be there, wrapped in cloth, still warm." She exhaled, short and controlled. "I've been angry since the day that boat came back empty. I just didn't know who to be angry at yet." Rin reached across the cave floor and put her hand over Daya's. Daya turned her hand over and held it. Hard. The grip of a person who has been holding something alone for a very long time and has finally been given somewhere to put it. They stayed like that for a while. Neither of them said anything else. They didn't need to. Then Rin looked at Kale. "Then you're going to help us end it," she said. Kale looked up. The bargain, the directives, the whole of it. Her voice was steady and cold and entirely her own. "You're going to put it in writing, everything you know, every name, every decision. You're going to give us that." "If I do..." "Then you face what you've done. In front of people. Honestly." She met his eyes. That's not mercy. That's the only other option. He looked at her for a long moment. He was an old man who had made a very old mistake and had never found a way out of it until now, and she could see that. She could see all of it. And it cost her something to look at him clearly and still hold the line. It cost something real, good. The things worth holding usually did. "All right," Cale said finally. He sat down on the cave floor in the place Dia had vacated, and he began to speak. Later, much later, after Cale had gone, after Dia had fallen asleep against the cave wall with the exhausted unconsciousness of someone whose world had just rearranged itself completely, Rin sat at the cave entrance and looked at the sea. The night was clear, stars on the water, the tide moving in its slow, enormous breath. She heard Solon settle behind her, not beside her, a careful distance, but close enough. They were quiet for a while. "You let him stay," he said finally. "I let him help." Rin said, "It's different." "Is it?" "Letting someone stay is something you feel." She turned her face toward the water. "Letting someone help is something you decide." "I decided." A pause. "That's rather precise." "I've had time to think about it." She tilted her head back slightly, watching the stars. 3 years of standing at the cove's edge and trying to decide whether I was afraid of the water or afraid of what I'd find in it. She exhaled. Turns out it was the same thing. He didn't say anything. She could feel him listening, the particular quality of his attention, the way he went still when he was actually hearing something. It was different from politeness. It was rarer. "Solon." "Yes. That thing you said, about writing down the directive." She chose her words the way she chose dive angles, carefully for what was below the surface. "You've been carrying that for 3 years. 3 years and some months," he said. "I counted for a while, then stopped." "Why'd you stop?" "Because the number kept getting larger and it wasn't helping." She almost smiled. She heard him shift, not moving closer, but something in his posture changing. "Rin," his voice was quiet. "Why did you almost smile just then?" "I didn't." "You did. Almost. It's not the same thing, but it's..." He paused. It was something. She turned to look at him. He was watching her with the expression she was beginning to understand, the one that appeared when he had let himself forget to be careful, when the dry precision of him slipped and whatever was underneath showed through for a second before he collected it. Not hollow, she thought, not empty, just kept very still, like a lantern with the shutters mostly closed. "You do that," she said. "Do what?" "Say the thing that makes me..." She stopped. He waited. "You say the exact true thing," she said. "And then you look away, like you're pretending you didn't." Silence. Then, "I've been told I'm difficult to read." "You're not difficult to read," Rin said. "You're difficult to catch. Those are different." He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice had the quality of something offered carefully. "You're rather good at catching things." "I'm a tide caller." She pulled her knees up to her chest, looking at the water. "We spend a lot of time looking for dim light in the dark." The sea turned over. The stars held. Neither of them moved, and neither of them moved away, which was its own kind of statement, quiet and unresolved, hanging in the cave-cold air between them, like something the tide had brought in, and neither of them had decided yet what to do with. Not yet, she thought, but the thought was softer than it had been 3 days ago, and the water was waiting. Cass's warmth was down there, dim and patient. One more dive, maybe 2. She would go down. She would come back up. She was still learning every day that those were not the same as being brave. They were just what she did, what she had always done, what Cass had taught her. Move with it. She breathed in. The sea breathed with her. The morning of the final dive, Rin woke before the others. She lay still for a moment in the cave's dark, listening. Daya's breathing, the fire reduced to ember breath. The sea outside, always the sea, always its slow, enormous voice, the sound she had grown up inside of, the sound she had spent 3 years pretending she couldn't hear. She sat up. Her hands were steady, not shaking, not the clenched stillness of someone holding themselves together, but actually, simply, steady. She pressed her palms flat against the stone floor and felt the cold of it, the roughness, the real weight of the world beneath her, and something in her chest settled with it. 3 years of waking up with shaking hands. 3 years of lying still in the dark, waiting for the grief to decide what shape it wanted to be today. This was different. Not healed, not done, just present in a way she had not been in a long time. As though something in the descent had reached back up through the water and repositioned her the way a dislocated thing is repositioned, which is painful and also a relief. She looked at her hands in the low light. Move with it, Cass had told her. Don't fight the current. She had spent 3 years fighting it. Every morning, a small war with herself. Every night, the same hollow victory. She had made it through another day without going in, without finding what was down there, without having to know. But she knew now, and the knowing had not broken her. It had instead done something she hadn't expected. It had given the grief a shape, a direction, 3 years of formless aching, of not knowing where to put the weight of him. And now she knew. He was down there. He had gone down knowing he might not come back, and he had left her a trail of warmth in the dark water, and that was the most Cass thing he had ever done, and she was going to go and get it. She picked up his journal, opened it to the last entry, read the unfinished line one more time. I left you. I know, she said quietly, to the empty air, to the cave, to whatever part of him the sea had not yet let go. I know what you left me. She closed the journal. Behind her, Solon said, You're awake. She turned. He was sitting up against the cave wall, the maps folded in his lap, his eyes already open. She suspected he had been awake for some time and had simply been doing what he did, which was wait and watch and keep the carefully assembled stillness of a man who had learned not to take up too much room. "You didn't sleep," she said. "I slept some." He paused. "I was thinking about the cost." He looked at her steadily. "The deeper you go, the more it takes. You said that, and you've already made 2 descents. I know the cost. I know you know it." His voice was even, precise. The way it got when he was choosing words the way a person chooses footholds on a cliff face. "I'm not questioning your decision. I find I don't particularly want you to come up older than you went down. That's all." The cave was very quiet. Rin looked at him. He was looking at his hands, which was how she had come to understand he delivered the things he actually meant. Not at her face, not performing them, just setting them down in the space between them like objects she could pick up or leave. "That's quite honest," she said. "You told me you preferred it." "I did." She looked at the fire. "The cost will be what it is, Solon. I've made my peace with that." "Have you?" She considered. "I've made my decision with that. Peace is..." She stopped. "Peace is something I'm working on." He was quiet for a moment. Then, so quiet she almost missed it, the corner of his mouth doing the almost thing. "That's the most honest thing you've said to me." She looked at him properly then. In the low light, he looked tired in the way that had nothing to do with sleep, the bone tired of a person who had been carrying something for so long they'd forgotten what it felt like to set it down. She understood it. She had her own version. "Solon," she said. "Yes." "When this is done..." She stopped. Started again. "I don't know what happens after. The council, the proof, She shook her head. "There's a lot of after, but I want you to know that..." "Rin..." She looked at him. He had lifted his eyes from his hands. He was watching her with the expression she could now name. Not the almost something, not the carefully controlled stillness. Just him. Whatever was under the shutters showing through. "Come back up," he said simply. "That's all I want. Come back up." The fire crackled between them. She nodded. Once. The way she agreed to things she meant. And then Daya said, from across the cave, in the voice of someone who had absolutely been awake the whole time, "Are you two finished, or should I go stand outside in the sea wind for a bit?" They reached the dive point as the sun came full over the water. Kale was there. He was standing at the path's end with the look of a man who had not slept either, who had spent the night making a decision and arrived with it already settled in his bones. He had a leather satchel, new, not the council's, and in his hands he held a sealed document. His own handwriting, the seal of his private ring, not the council's. He held it out to Rin. "Everything," he said. "Every name, every directive, every year." His voice was the flat, steady voice of a person speaking through the weight of what they've done. "The Eastern Port Authority will receive a copy by messenger this afternoon. There are families, people who lost someone to the trench. They'll receive letters before nightfall." Rin looked at the document, did not take it yet. "Why now?" she said. "You've had 3 years." "Because you were going to find the proof anyway," he said. He stopped. His jaw worked. I didn't want you to have to carry all of it alone, the way Cass did. She took the document. She handed it to Solon, who took it with the grave, careful hands of a man who understood exactly what it was. She looked at Kale. "This doesn't fix it," she said. "You understand that?" "Yes. It doesn't fix any of it." "I know. But it's something." He nodded. Old and diminished and present. "It's something," he agreed. She turned back to the water. The dive began the way all the important ones did. In silence. No fanfare, no speech. Rin standing at the ledge with her diving belt buckled and her brother's journal tucked safely in the pack on shore, and Daya beside her, and the sea below doing what it always did, which was wait. She looked at the water for a long moment. She thought about the first time Cass had brought her here. She had been 7 years old and terrified, and he had crouched beside her at exactly this ledge and taken her hand and said, "The water isn't trying to frighten you, Rin. It's just very old and very large, and it doesn't know how small we are. We have to show it. We have to show it." She stepped off the ledge. Down. The cold. The weight. The door-opening feeling of the surface breaking over her head and the world above receding, becoming the ceiling of something else entirely. Past 10 feet. 20. Daya was with her. Steady, warm, a presence in the dark water that Rin had come to understand was its own kind of holding. Not touching, just there. The way some people are there, the way Daya had always been there, which was without condition and without agenda, and without any requirement that Rin be anything other than exactly what she was. The thermocline, through it. The cold of the deep, true dark. The sound of the sea changed down here, lower, slower, the way a large creature breathes when it is resting, and everything in it is small. The visions started. Rin had expected them to be loud again, the way they had been on the second dive, but they were quiet here, quieter than anything she had ever heard underwater. A waiting quality, the silence of something that had been holding its breath for a very long time. Something ancient, something that predated language, predated names, predated the distinction between living and lost. She went deeper. The warmth appeared, not dim this time, not tentative, fully present, a pocket of it in the cold dark, the temperature of a room where someone has recently been, the heat that lingers in a chair when a person has just stood. It surrounded her completely, and for a moment she simply stayed in it, hanging in the deep water, her lungs beginning their count, and she let herself feel it without trying to explain it. He was here, she thought. He was right here. And he left this for me. And it has been waiting. 3 years. The warmth had been here for 3 years, waiting. She let that land. Let it land properly, all the way down into the place in her chest where the grief lived, and she felt the grief shift, not leave, not disappear, but move, the way a thing moves when you finally look at it directly. From a shapeless weight to something with edges, something you could, with time, learn to carry differently. I found it, Cass. She went deeper still. It was not a box, Not a document, not anything with physical form. It was an impression, the way the sea kept things, which was not in matter, but in memory. She had known this would be how it worked. She had known since the second dive that what Cass had left was not something she could carry up in her hands. What Cass had left was the truth of it. The full record, not paper, but the sea's version, the impression of every council session, every directive, every name signed, and every tide caller sent down. It surrounded her like a room she could stand in, like a place with walls made of knowledge, and she understood it the way you understand something you always knew but couldn't say. She understood all of it. And then she heard him. Not a fragment this time, not a distortion. His voice, the exact particular rhythm of it, the slight tilt on certain syllables, the way he said her name with the R.A. little soft, the way he had always said it since she was small enough to fit in the crook of his arm. Rin. She opened her mouth and immediately closed it. Water. She was underwater. She pressed her lips together hard. "Don't be dramatic," his voice said, and she almost laughed. Almost, the sound swallowed back before it could cost her air, because that was so completely him. That was the most perfectly cast thing he had ever said to her, even from the bottom of the sea. "I knew you'd come," he said. "I left the warmth for you because I knew you'd come. It just took you a little while." Her lungs were very loud now. The count was almost done. "It cost you something," he said. "I know. I'm sorry it cost you something." She shook her head. The water moved around her face. "You don't have to be sorry," she thought at him, with everything she had. "You don't have to be sorry. You were brave. You went all the way down and you left me a trail, and that's the most you think." "I know," he said. "I know, Rin. You can be angry too, if you want to be." She was. She had been for 3 years. She was angry, and she was aching, and she loved him, and she missed him, and none of those things were finished, and none of them would ever be entirely finished, and she was finally beginning to understand that this was not failure. This was just what loving someone looked like when they were gone. It looked like carrying them. It looked like coming back to the water. It looked like being 22 years old with your lungs screaming and your hands not shaking, and the whole dark sea pressing close, and choosing to be here anyway. "Go up," Cass said. "You have everything you need. Go up, Rin." Her lungs. Go. She went. The surface. Her head broke through and she gasped. Enormous, ragged, the full desperate breath of someone who has held on to the very last moment, and then she was floating and the sky was there, wide and pale and doing nothing in particular, and she was here. She was here. She pressed the back of her hand against her mouth. Her eyes stung. Salt water, she told herself. Just salt water. But her shoulders were shaking, slightly, barely, the small particular tremor of a grief that had finally been heard. And she let them shake because Cass had told her she was allowed to be angry, and so she was allowed to be this too. Dia surfaced beside her, read her face, said nothing, just reached out and held Rin's forearm in both hands, steady in the water, an anchor. They floated together. After a while, Rin said, "I heard him." I know, Daya said. He told me to go up. Sounds like him. He said don't be dramatic. Daya made a sound that was half grief and half laugh, and entirely real. That is so exactly what he would say. Rin exhaled, long and slow, all the way down to the bottom of her lungs. I'm angry, she said. I want you to know that. I'm still angry. I know that too. Good. I needed someone to know. I've known for 3 years, Daya said. I was waiting for you to. She came out of the water and Solon was there, not lying on his stomach at the cliff edge, not pacing, standing at the base of the cliff, exactly where she would climb out, like a person who had decided on a specific place to be and then been there. She climbed the last few feet, her arms were shaking with the effort. The depth had taken something, she could feel it in the way everything was slightly heavier, slightly older, the cumulative cost of 3 dives settling into her bones like a tide that had come in and not entirely gone back out. Days, maybe, worn invisibly into her skin. The sea did not ask permission when it took what it was owed. She kept climbing. Solon reached down. She took his hand. He pulled her up, and when she reached the top, she was closer to him than she'd intended. The angle of the cliff, the momentum, close enough that she could see the thing in his face that he usually kept shuttered, right there, unguarded. She did not step back. Neither did he. You're shaking, he said. Quiet. Just an observation. I know. Are you? I'm all right. She met his eyes. I think I'm all right. He looked at her for a long moment, studying her the way he studied documents, carefully, with the full weight of his attention, as if what he found there mattered. Yes, he said finally. I think you are. She became aware incrementally of several things at once, that her hand was still in his, that neither of them had moved, that Daya had climbed out of the water behind them and was now making a great performance, of wringing out her hair and looking at literally anything else in the landscape. Rin stepped back, but she did not let go of his hand immediately. She held on for one more second, deliberate, chosen, and then she did. He noticed. She knew he noticed because he looked at his own hand briefly, the way you look at something you want to remember the shape of. I have everything we need, she said. The proof, the record. I know all of it now. She took a breath. We go to the village. We tell them. Today? Solon asked. Today. A pause. He was looking at her with the careful look, the document reading look, and she understood what was coming before he said it. The Eastern Authority will need more than testimony, he said. Not unkindly, just precise, the way he was when something mattered. Your knowledge of what's down there, what the sea gave you, that carries weight in maritime law. Tide caller witness accounts have been used in the Eastern courts before for salvage claims, for drowning inquiries, but they need to be recorded formally, sworn and sealed. He reached into his satchel, drew out 2 clean sheets of paper, already prepared, She suspected he had been preparing them since the second dive. I need you to describe everything. Every name, every year, every directive the sea showed you, while it's clear, before the edges soften. She looked at the papers, then at him. You came prepared, she said. I came hoping, he said. Quietly. There's a difference. She sat down on the cliffstone, took the paper. The morning light was full over the water now, and her hands were still trembling slightly from the depth, and she pressed the page flat against her knee and began. She spoke everything the sea had given her. Solon wrote. His handwriting was neat and quick, and he did not interrupt, not once. Only asked, twice, for a name to be spelled, and both times waited with the patience of a person who understood that the speaking of certain things cost something. When she was done, he had 3 full pages. He signed the bottom as witness, handed the pages to her. She signed them. Her own name, Rin of Veth, tide caller. In the handwriting her brother had taught her, the letters tilted slightly to the right. Now, she said. Now, he agreed. She found her mother first. She had not planned to, had not known she was looking, but there she was at the edge of the crowd, gray-haired and small and very still, the way she went still when she was holding something too large for her face to carry. Their eyes met across the square. Rin crossed to her. She did not say anything. Not yet. There was too much and none of it was ready, and this was not the place for it. Not in the middle of a square filling up with the noise of a village coming apart at its seams. She just stood in front of her mother and let herself be looked at. Her mother reached up, pressed one hand briefly to the side of Rin's face. Warm, certain, the hand she had known since before she knew anything else. I know, her mother said, simply, as though she had been waiting 3 years for someone to confirm it, and now that they had, the knowing could finally settle somewhere. I know you knew, Rin said. Her mother nodded. Her eyes were bright. She did not cry. She was not, Rin had always understood, a woman who cried easily, which was where Rin had gotten it from. She just held her daughter's face for one more second and then lowered her hand. Go, her mother said. Do what needs doing. Come home after. Rin went. She stepped into the square. People turned. She told them. It was not clean. There was no moment of perfect reckoning where the truth arrived and everyone immediately understood and the world reformed itself into something just. That was not how truth worked. Not the hard-won kind. Not the kind that had been buried at the bottom of the sea for 3 years. It arrived in the square of Veth like a storm arriving. Like the kind of weather you had known was coming and had not prepared for anyway, and it changed the shape of everything. People wept. People argued. An old fisherman sat down heavily on the harbor wall and did not get up for a long time. 3 council members who had known, who had signed and stayed silent and kept the harvest good and the seas calm and told themselves this was service, were confronted by their neighbors with the flat, terrible grace of people who had just learned what they had been protected by. Cale stood in the square and answered every question. He did not run. He did not excuse. He was old and diminished and present, and Rin watched him bear the weight of it and thought, This is not forgiveness. This is not peace. But it is something. It is a beginning. Somewhere in the middle of it, the noise, the grief, the village rearranging itself around a truth it couldn't unfind, she felt Solon beside her, not touching, just present. A warmth in the cold air, like a pocket of the deep water, like something that had decided to stay. She didn't say anything. Neither did he. They stood together in the square while Veth came apart and began, slowly, haltingly, to figure out how to put itself back together. 3 days later, the Eastern Port Authority arrived. They brought investigators and ledgers and the particular bureaucratic weight of a system being called to account. The lead investigator, a gray-haired woman from the Eastern Port with ink-stained fingers and the unhurried manner of someone who had seen most things and stopped being surprised by them, read Kale's written confession in one sitting. Then she read Rin's tied collar testimony. Then she read it again. "You went to 200 feet, the investigator said. Not a question. "Deeper," Rin said. The woman looked at her over the papers. "And the sea's record, everything you've described here, this is consistent with maritime testimony law under the Eastern Charter. A sworn tied collar account of the trench's memory is admissible. It has been since the salvage courts of 40 years past." She set the pages down. "Combined with the elder's written confession and the scribe's corroborating records," she paused. "This is a strong case." "Good," Rin said. "It will take time," the investigator said. "Months, possibly. The council members named here will dispute it. There will be hearings." "I know." Rin folded her hands in her lap. They were still slightly older than they had been a week ago. The cost of the deep, worn quietly in the skin. "I've waited 3 years. I can wait for the law." Solon spent 2 days in meetings after that. Rin attended for exactly as long as it took her to understand she was not needed, and then left. She found Daya at the harbor wall, not in the square, not in the middle of it. Daya had never needed to be in the middle of things to be part of them. She was sitting on the harbor wall with her feet dangling over the edge and her eyes on the water and her face doing the thing it did when she was feeling something she hadn't decided what to call yet. Rin sat beside her. The harbor was quiet here. The noise of the square carried on the wind but distantly, like weather happening somewhere else. "You've known for 3 years," Rin said. "I've suspected for 3 years," Daya said. "It's different." "Is it?" Daya was quiet for a moment. "Suspecting means you can still decide you're wrong," she said. "Knowing means you can't anymore." She looked at the water. "I kept deciding I was wrong. It was easier." Rin understood that completely. She had her own version of it. 3 years of standing at the cove's edge and deciding she wasn't ready, which was another way of deciding she might be wrong about what was down there. "You stayed," Rin said. "Through all of it. You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," Daya said simply. "Daya." "Rin." She turned and looked at her, direct as she always was, the way people are direct when they have decided honesty is less exhausting than the alternative. "He was my friend too. He brought me bread on cold mornings, and he never once made me feel like being a woman who dived, made me strange, which you would be surprised how rare that is." Her voice was even. You don't have to thank me for staying. You never have to thank me for that. I was always going to stay. Rin looked at her for a long moment. Then she put her arm around Daya's shoulders, and Daya leaned into it, and they sat together on the harbor wall with the sea below them and the village behind them coming apart and slowly, haltingly beginning to put itself back together. Just like them, pieced together, not perfectly, not without cracks, but held. That evening, Rin went back to the cove. Alone this time, just her. She sat at the ledge's edge and looked at the water in the low orange light. The tide was coming in. She could smell the deep in it, the particular cold that came from far down that had nothing to do with the surface. That was the smell of depth and pressure and things that didn't change. She took out Cass's journal. She opened it to the last entry. I left you. She picked up a pencil she had brought, the same color ink as his, near enough. She had thought about this for 3 days, whether it was right, whether it was too much, whether she was taking something that wasn't hers to finish. She decided it was hers. She pressed the pencil to the page, below his unfinished line, and she wrote, "The warmth," and I found it. She closed the journal. The tide came in. The sea was loud and old and completely indifferent to small human griefs, which she had once resented and had come slowly to find something like comfort in. The sea had been here before her grief and would be here after. It did not require her grief to be finished. It only required her to be in it, to keep breathing, to come up every time she went down. She heard footsteps on the path behind her. She did not have to turn to know who it was. She had learned the particular sound of Solon walking, the way careful people walk, like they're always slightly aware of the space they're taking up. He sat down beside her, a careful distance, close enough. The meetings, she said, done. For today. A pause. You left. You didn't need me. That's not... He stopped. Tried again. That's accurate from a practical standpoint. She glanced at him. He was looking at the water, the last of the light on his face, and there was something in his expression that she recognized. She had seen it in mirrors, on bad mornings, when the grief was close to the surface, and the face gave it away. Solon, she said. Yes. What happens now? For you. He was quiet for a moment. I've been asked to serve as a witness correspondent, he said, for the Eastern Authority, for the duration of the investigation. He paused. It could be months. In Veth? In Veth. She looked back at the water. Something in her chest did a thing she was not going to examine too closely, not yet. Not yet was a phrase she had been using a great deal lately. She was beginning to understand it was not delay. It was pacing. There was a difference. Good, she said. He looked at her. The investigation needs someone who reads documents like they're trying to understand them rather than just file them, she said. That's you. Is that why it's good? She could hear the question under the question, the not quite asking, the way he did everything, set it down in the space between them, and waited to see what she would do with it. She looked at him properly. The light was low. His eyes were doing the thing where they gave away slightly too much, and she let herself look at it for once instead of noting it and moving on. "No," she said. "That's not why." He was very still. "But I'm working on peace," she said. "Remember, one thing at a time." The corner of his mouth moved, the almost thing. But this time, it did not stop at almost. It arrived, fully, briefly, real. A smile, small and unguarded and entirely his. Something in her chest settled. She turned back to the sea. He did not move away. The tide came in, as it always did, as it always would, pulling back and returning, taking and giving, keeping and releasing, the oldest rhythm in the world. The stars appeared, first one, then more, the dark filling up with light the way it always did when you waited long enough. She breathed in. Salt. Cold. The smell of the deep. She breathed out. The sea was here. Cass was here in the way the dead are here. In the journal in her hands. In the warmth she would always know how to find now. In the way she tilted her head when she was thinking. In the way she could go all the way down into the dark and come back up. She was here. Still here. Still shaking sometimes. Still angry. Still grieving. Still learning the difference between peace and decision and finding that maybe they were moving toward each other. One day at a time. One breath at a time. The tide came in, and the darkness did not get the final word. The end.